women have been at the forefront of innovation and leadership, the reality is that business world remains heavily male-dominated. Women entrepreneurs still face higher barriers to funding, fewer opportunities in leadership, and systemic biases that make it harder for them to scale their ventures. But despite these challenges, there are women who have been redefining what leadership looks like. They've not just broken the glass ceiling, but they've built new pathways in real estate, technology, finance, retail, and beyond. Our panel features trailblazing women who have shattered expectations, created disruptive business models, and paved the way for future generation of female leaders. They are the blueprint for success, resilience, and reinvention. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to welcome on stage our esteemed panel members. Moderating this session is founder and director of UBSE, Ms. Sheetal Bhilkar. I request all of you to please welcome her on stage with a round of applause. She's a visionary leader in the construction industry as the founder, director of UBSE, a renowned MEP consultancy. She has spearheaded groundbreaking projects spanning over 120 million square feet, transforming urban landscapes and redefining industry standards. Through her pioneering initiative, the Real Woman Awards, she has empowered 156 women in construction, fostering a more inclusive and diverse industry. As the founder and president of the Real Woman Global Community, As the founder and president of the Real Woman Global Community, a pan-Indian network of women in construction with a presence in over 115 cities, she continues to drive positive change. A very warm welcome to you, Sheetal. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, our next panel member is a force to reckon with in the real estate sector, leading one of the most reputed development firms in Mumbai. As the director of Asher Group, she has not only expanded the company's footprint, but also introduced innovation, sustainability, and strategic growth in the real estate market. She's a firm believer in creating homes that are not just structures, but experiences, ensuring that her company stays ahead in a rapidly evolving industry. Please welcome Director Asher Group, Ayushi Asher. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we could do with some more applause. Let's see those hands coming together. Joining our panel is a serial entrepreneur, wellness advocate, and business leader who has built multiple brands that cater to modern consumers and their evolving needs. As the founder of La Mer Life and Mica Waters, she has disrupted the wellness industry by introducing sustainable, conscious, and premium lifestyle products that promote holistic well-being. Her expertise spans across brand building, strategic growth, and consumer psychology, making her a leading voice in business transformation and entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder of La Mer Life and Mica Waters, Menka Deora. Joining us for this session, ladies and gentlemen, we also have Managing Director, Moraj Group, Ms. Priya Gurnani. Influenced by the impactful woman of substance during her school days, she has emerged as a trailblazer in the male-dominated real estate industry. In her role as the Managing Director of Moraj Infratech, she boldly defines the conventional belief that real estate sector is inherently too rugged and challenging for women to take the lead. She has not only risen to challenges, she not only challenges this perception, but she also reshapes it by demonstrating that gender is not a barrier to success in the intricate and often male-dominated realm of real estate. Leveraging her background in interior design, she skillfully handles responsibilities thrust upon her as the second-generation entrepreneur, navigating the complex terrain of a business traditionally perceived as aggressive and politically charged. Please welcome Ms. Priya Gurnani on stage with a round of applause. Let me introduce our other panel members. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Associate Vice President, Canon Design, Ms. Rajila Jain with us. I request Ms. Jain to please come up on stage. She currently serves as the Associate Vice President at Canon Design, a role that she has held since April 2024. With over a decade of professional experience, she specializes in mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design management. Prior to Canon Design, Regila had held leadership roles at notable organizations including DGP MEP at Provenance Land, Associate MEP Head at Planify, and Manager MEP at Mahindra Lifespace Developers Limited. Her career also includes a significant tenure as Senior Engineer at Bureau Happold. Regila's expertise spans project leadership, engineering excellence, and innovative solutions in the construction and design industry. Last but not the least, my final panel member for this session is Head of Data Center Business, Burns & McDonnell's Engineering India, Ms. Reshma Patil. Please welcome Ms. Patil on stage with a round of applause. With a mechanical engineering degree and being an active member of the ASHRAE Mumbai chapter and the ISHRAE Thane chapter since 2017. She has currently been serving as the secretary of the ISHRAE Thane chapter and communication chair of ASHRAE Mumbai chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome our panel members, and I think I'm going to leave the stage to the moderator of the session now. Over to you.
Thank you for this lovely introduction. And welcome everyone, welcome panelists and audience to this amazing panel discussion on women leading the way in the construction and real estate industry. So I would like to ask here, how many of you know the percentage of women in construction industry? Because you might have noticed this anchor again and again was talking about male-dominated industry. Anybody knows?
Should I answer?
Yeah, you can, please.
So precisely, it's 12 to 13% in India.
Okay, so it's around 11 to 12%, but out of this, majority of them are unskilled labor, okay? Those who are working at sites. And only around 3% are in leadership roles or entrepreneurs like us. So without further ado, I'll dive into this panel discussion. And today's panel is an interesting mix of panelists. We have two developers, and Ayushi and Priya, both of them are second generation entrepreneurs. Then we have a distributor, Meenka, and we have Rajila and Reshma, both of them are intrapreneurs. So I'm starting this panel discussion with my first question with Ayushi. So Ayushi, we would like to know your journey in this construction and real estate industry. How did you start this? And being a second generation entrepreneur, was it easy for you or it was difficult for you?
Yeah, thank you and good evening everyone. My journey started in 2018 when I came back. I was studying in the US and I did a bunch of internships and work experience there, and after that I decided to come back and join the family business. It was a great playing field, I think, when, my father, who has spent 20 years building this company, I came in and I really thought I could be a transformative force in taking the company to a new journey in itself. And it has been, honestly, it has been a very welcoming process. I think it really starts with the company culture itself. In some way, yes, it's daunting because real estate, whatever said and done, it's a very, very technical field. It is production heavy. You have to put in the hours. You have to do your site visits. You have to have the technical knowledge. Everything else, the sales, marketing, design comes secondary, but first you have to build the product, which is the buildings, and for that you have to have the engineering background, which I did not have because I studied finance. So it was a lot of months and years of putting in that work to really build the technical capability. And yes, I think overall we have really built an organization that supports equality and has a lot of women representation. We have a 50-50 workforce almost. Our CFO is a male, which is Chief Financial Officer, and internally we say our cash flow officer is a female. our VP procurement is a female, our VP of marketing is a male. I have a VP sales who's a male, I have a VP sales who's a female. So I think what we can do differently being in the senior leadership is really have representation in the senior leadership, which is what is missing. And that is what we try to do, and that's how we try to make a difference.
Yeah, amazing. I think the more and more opportunities you are giving to women in your organization. And I have worked with Asher personally, and I think you guys have an amazing team. And with your presence, I think I have heard somewhere you have increased the business to 4x level. So congratulations to you. So going forward, I would like to go to Priya. So Priya, I was going through your profile and you have got a very interesting journey. Like she's an interior designer and she has around 30 years experience, and last 15 years she's part of this amazing construction industry. So Priya, we would like to know, have you faced any challenges in this industry being male dominated? And what qualities have contributed to your success?
Good evening, friends. Yes, I do have an interior designing experience. My father was in the construction industry since the 1987. However, I did not want to be known as somebody who's just got something on a platter. So therefore, when I studied interior design, I had my own career. I was on the panel of a lot of banks doing a lot of interior work. As my father aged, and because I had, educational background which was closest to the construction industry, I joined him about 12 years ago. There were multiple challenges. One is the social expectation that, our society has of women. You are supposed to follow, very few women leaders. So that was the major challenge that I had to face. But then I just feel that, I had a very clear vision. I was determined to succeed, and I was resilient. Come what may, I did not care. I mean, if I had to do something, I had to do it. I was lucky. I had a few mentors who guided me, who taught me. And once I had the technical knowledge, I think I was able to, stand up to the challenges, rather, face the challenges, because then people took me seriously because I had the knowledge, and when I asked questions, they were genuine questions, and they realized that I'm asking a question not just for the sake of asking a question, because I feel that, it needs to be asked.
Thank you, Priya. I think I can totally agree with you. I had similar journey, last 3 decades I'm part of this industry. And when I started, the acceptance level was really very low. So a woman in MEP industry, so that the whole perception I had to change. I think now also acceptance level is low, but of course it has improved a lot in last few decades. So I would come to you, Rajila, about how do you ensure inclusivity and provide opportunities to other women in the industries, especially when we all are talking about growing focus on ESG?
Yeah, first of all, good evening, everyone. So, inclusivity is very common word which we nowadays use. But here we are specifically talking about gender-based inclusivity in the workforce. So the background which I come from, I started my journey way back in 2006. And I was fortunate enough in whichever companies I have worked with, those were inclusive in terms of, not only in terms of policies, but they have created such environment, work environment where I felt inclusive. Because there are policies, and major companies are coming up with those inclusive policies like DEI, and that is taken very seriously in major companies. But not only in terms of policies, there is something called unconscious bias, which we have to deal with on daily basis. So I'll just give very basic example of it. What is unconscious bias in our workforce? There is a very common trend in every company. Like at the end of the month, we do a cake cutting. Like the birthdays which has gone by in that month, we just do the cake cutting at the end of the month. And after the cake cutting, by default, whoever has just cut the cake, by default, our eyes are looking for a woman who will actually make into pieces and distribute it to all. So that is called unconscious bias. So that is a thing we have to deal with. So I will say we have to deal consciously this unconscious bias. So that's how we can make our workforce inclusive, not only at the leadership level, but our surroundings also.
Yeah, I can totally agree with you, but I would like to add here, in my organization, this cake cutting, it's a ritual, all men will do it, not a
That's
single
good.
woman will do it.
So that's a change I mean, it's no one's job. It just voluntarily we are doing it.
Yes.
So there is no need to search for someone very specific. That's when that basic inclusivity starts with.
And here I would like to add also something. In my organization, we have a special drive, employment drive called second innings members. So we are encouraging women who have stopped working in this industry because of social responsibility what we have, like we have parents sometimes, we have child to take care of. So we leave our careers for that, right? So we have this special drive for employing this kind of women. And I can proudly say in my organization, we have already given a job to such women.
That's great to hear. And also, many organizations are coming up with childcare facilities in the workplace itself. So if you have infant or very small kid, you can take care of your kid while you're working as well, so that your kid is just right in front of your eyes. So you don't need to worry about while you're focusing on your work. So yeah, these kind of very small changes brings a big change at the end of the day.
So all the projects what we design, I always ask this question to developer: are we not planning a crash here? If it's a big township, why we are not planning a crash? It's a simple this thing, right? If you have 2,000 tenements, a small crash of 1,000, 1,500 square feet, how much difference it will make? You are putting so many amenities, and some of the developers go for it, but I try to make it a point that I at least make a point to suggest this to them, right? So I think these are the small changes which we all expect to happen in our communities, but we all should try wherever possible to share our journeys and try to bring this change. Yeah. So I will come to Reshma now. Reshma, there's a lot being said about work-life balance last few days, and that too we are talking on Sundays. And as females, we really don't have time to stare at ourselves also in the mirror. Like we have such tough responsibilities. So I would like to know from you, as a woman in this demanding industry, and I being a part of MEP industry, it's highly demanding. Our working hours are crazy. And that too, you're working on data center projects. So it's very demanding. So how do you manage this work-life balance and juggling multiple roles, like mother, then your daughter to someone, your sister to someone, your wife of someone? How do you do this multiple roles?
Hello, good evening. So yes, multitasking. So I heard that भगवान ने बनाते वक्त औरत को बहुत टाइम लिया था. So by nature we have something different, like multitasking and sixth sense. We do have that. So while I plan my day, I plan it priority wise. So Of course, it's bit difficult in this era. Like, we have to even work from the home also sometimes. So we have to have the difference between house and office also. So I try to keep whenever, sometimes I do work from the home also, still at that time, I keep that distance. And I plan my work accordingly. So multitasking, of course. So I prioritize the work, and along with that, I give my priority to my family also. So because they also required my time as a wife, as a daughter-in-law, as a daughter, I have to give that time also. And while giving that time, I should not forget myself. I should have me time also. So meanwhile, I love my hobbies also. So I'm a music lover. I play dole, and the priority to health also. So I exercise every day, walk and yoga. So that me time also I follow it. And whenever I am at home, at that time I try to be 100% at the home only. And whenever I go for the outing or anything, at that time I try to avoid the office work. Of course, whatever the work has to be delicate, I do that. And in home also, we do not have any demarcation, like this work has to be done by my husband, this work has to be done myself. So whoever is available. So I stay in a joint family. I stay with my in-laws. And we do not have any demarcation. So whoever is available, we do that work. So for example, in many families, only wives, they take care of their kids. But in my house, it's not the case. My husband is also a good husband. He is a good mother, I can say. And my mother-in-law is there. She always supports me. My parents are there. They always support me. And of course, God has gifted us with this one special thing, and we need to use that. So we do not underestimate ourselves that we have those capabilities. Like, it's a Navdurga, we can say. So we are having that capabilities, and we should utilize that. If we utilize that in a proper way, then nothing is impossible. You can excel in your office also, or in your professional life also, and you can excel in your personal life also. That's the thing.
Thank you, Reshma. Absolutely right. You have to do that. Then only you can play multiple roles. Um, that's so true. So, but what I would like to suggest here, what problems some women do is they try to be perfect in each and every role. So, my advice is you can't be perfect everywhere. So, please accept that and go ahead. That is the key of, being happy.
So yes, no one is perfectionist over here. So whatever the things you can't, let it be. It's okay. Love yourself. Start loving yourself the way you are.
Thank you, Reshma. I really loved your answer. So we will go to Menka now. Menka, we would like to know what message would you like to convey to women who aspire to join this construction and real estate industry?
Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you, everyone, for being present. Thank you, co-panelists. Very inspiring answers. I'm really inspired by each one of you. What message to give to women? Okay, so I am a distributor for a water purifier from Auroville, from Pondicherry, which actually allows you to have mountain quality water in your kitchen. So it transforms compromised, heavy, dead, stripped off water of the city and transforms it into mountain quality water. And I transitioned, or actually I added this product to what I was doing earlier, which is creating inner leadership programs for the modern contemporary youth. And I saw the challenges that they faced in their mental, physical health. And I would work closely with parents and children. So when I saw the possibility of introducing a water purifier,
and helping their mental physical health with mountain quality water in their daily life for better hydration, better digestion, for better energy levels, for removing endocrine disrupting chemicals and contaminants from our water. When I saw that possibility, I didn't think whether, oh, I don't know how to be a distributor. I've always been an educator. So women have this innate ability to transition from roles if they believe in something. So that is definitely one thing that I would say, that if you're finding an opportunity in the real estate space, just go for it. And I have 3 messages for women entrepreneurs. The first is that step into your workspace, your work day, your workforce with a lot of confidence and privilege and power. Often we are surrounded with all this chaos around us, multiple balls to juggle, multiple hats to wear, but that chaos does not define us. And we don't have to let it pull us down, even though it is difficult to deal with it, as Reshma also said. But we can enter the day, the workspace, with a lot of power and privilege because we represent Shakti. And nothing moves in the world without Shakti. So we always have that leverage. So I would say invest your resources, your time, your energies in connecting with that Shakti within, in knowing it better, in educating yourself, in expressing that power, that Shakti we hold within. And therein lies all the solutions to the challenges we face. So in taking out time for that inner connection is supremely important for all us women entrepreneurs, because there lie all our answers. Yes, a lot of it is about learning strategies, about learning the skills, and empowering ourselves at the external level, meeting the ground realities that we have to face. You know, I at the beginning when I started this distribution, I was not only a distributor, but I was a technician. I repaired machines. I was customer support. I was everything. You have to deal with that as well. But 50% of our challenges lie because we have not connected with our power within. We have not come to know who we are. So that would be my first takeaway message for women. The second is that Griha and Garbha and Garima, they are all the same. They are spaces of nurturing life, of giving, of actually nourishing lives. So it is the space that we are designed to be in. So if you are connected with that space of real estate, of in any capacity, if you're dealing with a product, service, or skill in that space, go ahead with all your confidence and prowess, because this is our space. We are nurturers, and bhumi and water and home are feminine elements. So set your own trends, you know, be an innovator. You don't have to be bogged down by convention, by trends. Just go for it. You have that prowess within you. So just feel free and use it. There are a lot of women out there who will support you, who will support each other. And women are unstoppable when we are connected with our Shakti and when we're connected with other Shakti in the same space. And my last takeaway would be that put work culture before anything else. Just like we create a home and we have a vision for our home, our children, our family, we must have a vision for our work culture. Because often, and I've gone through this personally, we get bogged down by sales targets, by profitability. There's a pressure in that direction. And without realizing, we allow that pressure to become the work culture in the organization, right? Suddenly, you know, everyone's feeling struggle, everyone's feeling stressed. Why? Because we didn't bother to first define our work culture based on our deepest human and spiritual values. We allowed the external goal to become our work culture. So first, I would urge every woman entrepreneur out there to define your work culture and make your profitability, your targets subservient to that. Let that fit into your work culture, and you'll see that, you know, profits and targets just happen even better than before, automatically as a result. So you're like nurturing a happier space, and also let the values be excellence, growth, and mutuality. When that is your focus, then automatically you have happier clients, you have happier employees, and because you're about mutuality, you're thinking of mutuality across the range of stakeholders. So you're also thinking of a better mutually beneficial society, a better planet, a better employee and their families, and your own product. So automatically you take care of sustainability, you're able to take care of so many different things because you put growth and mutuality and excellence as your work culture. So let everything fit into that. And I think who knows better about this than women, because we are innately nurturers and we have this ability. So even to the men out there in the industry, in the space, I'd suggest to have women in key positions of decision making, because they are really aligned with this space. It is a feminine space. So yeah, that would be my 3 takeaways. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Menka. There was I was just listening to all the 3 things what you said, and I felt so connected with what you are saying. Great, the kind of experience you have in spirituality also, and wellness industry, and then you are into this water distribution thing also. It's thank you for this answer. I think you made my day with what answer you gave me. So I think with this we will be ending this panel discussion, and I'm really happy that I'm connected with all of you, and to all the audience also. We have one upcoming event called Celebrating Women in Construction happening on 8th March. I would like to all of you to attend that also. And like Menka said, let's stay connected. If we all are connected with each other, we can make a lot of difference. Thank you so much to audience also for hearing us patiently.